What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to my channel, or if you guys are new here, my name's Courtney and I would love if you guys subscribe to my channel. Just hit the little subscribe button down below and you guys will be notified when I post a video. Today's video is going to be very different from what I typically post on my channel. If you guys obviously watch me, you guys know that I post like makeup, beauty, fashion, all of that, lifestyle kind of thing. But today I wanted to be very real and very raw with you guys and share something with you guys that you may not know about me. I also wanted to share this because yesterday was Bell Let's Talk Day, which is an awareness for mental health. And I was already planning on filming this video because next week is National Eating Disorder Awareness Week, which hits home for me. And I hope by posting this video, I can, you know, maybe inspire people out there that have been going through the same thing I went through or currently are going through the same thing. And I just want to inspire them and really just let them know that let someone know, get your help you need, talk to people. You can get better. I believe in you. I mean, I got better, and if I can do it, every single one of you that are watching that might be going through something really crappy in their life can get through it too. So with that being said, I'm going to share with you guys my story of my eating disorder that I went through. I'm not posting this video for like whatever fucking people say about people posting like real shit with the world. Like, no, I'm not doing this for attention. I'm doing this for awareness. And although I only have 2,000 subscribers, at least one of the 2,000 people that follow me have either gone through an eating disorder or know someone has an eating disorder. So, I mean, again, I'm doing this for awareness and really just to show you guys that you can get better and you can live a damn good life after you get better. So I'm gonna go right into the story because I feel like it's kind of long and I don't want to be here all day boring you guys with my story. Okay, so my eating disorder started in grade 8 and it started with just over exercising. I wasn't really like overly self-conscious. I just kind of did it as, you know, I wanted to get into shape. So every single night before I went to bed, I had a routine, and that was 50 sit-ups, 50 push-ups, and 50 jumping jacks. I started doing that, I think in the end of grade 7, all the way till like grade 8. And middle of grade 8, I started obviously seeing like some definition. I noticed a difference in my body right away, and I got a lot of compliments from every single person that I was friends with. They noticed that, you know, I was getting into shape and that I looked good. So the middle of grade 8, I was still continuing on with this routine. And I just remember one day after school, I was just so exhausted, I didn't do this routine. And keep in mind, there had been previous nights that I hadn't done this routine, but I didn't really think anything of it until this one day, which I'm not sure why this one day made me like so self-conscious, but it did. And I remember telling myself that if I didn't do this routine before I went to bed, that the next day I would suffer. And the next day, my suffering was I was not gonna eat all day. So that was my payback to myself for not achieving my goal for doing all of my workouts. So the next day, went to school, I was fine. Like, I didn't usually eat breakfast anyway, so it didn't really bother me. Lunch came, was a little bit hungry, but wasn't really overly bothered. And then after school came and I was absolutely starving. I had gone the whole day without eating anything, and you know, at this point in your life, your brain is still developing, you're learning, and it's crucial you are getting the right amount of food and nutrients that you need. I didn't eat anything. I went home, I was starving, and I made a box of Kraft dinner. To this day, I still love Kraft dinner. I will eat a whole box when I'm hungover. I love it. And I remember going home and I remember eating a whole box of Kraft dinner and eating it so fast, and then taking 2 minutes after and just thinking, holy shit, I just ate a whole box of Kraft dinner. I feel like shit. Just get rid of it. So that is what I did. And for those of you who don't know what bulimia is, there's 2 types of eating disorders, or maybe even 3 now. I don't really know. I think there's anorexia, which is where you starve yourself. Bulimia, which is when you binge and purge. You can do the research on that. I don't really want to get really far into depth about what bulimia is. I think you guys all know what that is. That was the first time that I had done that. I called my best friend at the time and told her, and you know, we kind of just talked through it and said, you know, I'm never gonna do that again, because right away I was hit with 2 feelings. One, relief that I had been able to get that food out of me and not have any sort of difference in my body. That's what I was thinking in my head. Obviously eating a box of Kraft dinner is not gonna like make you gain weight, but to someone that is sick, that is going, try telling them that. And then I was also overwhelmed with a feeling of disgust of why did I just do that? And I'm sure we've all had that feeling before where we've done something in our life where you just feel so disgusted in yourself. It's a really bad feeling. I didn't do it again for a few years, I think. I was always very cautious of my body. I always worked out. I was always pretty healthy for the most part. I always loved sweets, and that has still not changed. So I always made it a thing to work out and be active. My eating disorder got really bad in grade 10, 11, and 12. Grade 11 and 12 the worst, and I'm just gonna kind of speed up the story. It, I guess, was my way of dealing with stress, but I was binging and purging a few times a day. I started noticing that my friends were, I was pushing myself away from like close relationships from my friends, from my boyfriend at the time. My hair was thinning, I was always cold, my nails were yellow, like I always felt sick. My parents didn't really notice at the time because there was a lot of other shit going on in our lives, I guess, that they're more concerned about. And not to say they weren't concerned about me. I was always the child in the family. I know my sister's probably watching this, but I was always the child in the family that they didn't really feel like they had to be concerned about as far as like issues and stuff like that. I always seemed to be happy, popular, and all that shit, which obviously was not the case because I was very, very sad and insecure, but that's not my parents' fault. Mom, I know you're watching this too, so grade 11 came and I just found myself sinking into a bigger hole. There would be so many times and I would just be crying and just wanting, why did I do that? I told myself it was the last time I'd do that, and like, I just couldn't stop. I was addicted to doing it, and that was my addiction. Food was my addiction, and purging was also my addiction. So how my parents found out, my mom was starting to get suspicious of certain things, but I was very, very, very in denial to my parents about it. I personally knew I had a big issue and needed help. I'm very petite, I'm 5'4", I'm 125, 30 pounds, so like I'm petite, but I was about 100 pounds at my lowest, and although I didn't look ill, I was very ill. It started getting noticeable, and I knew it was getting bad when I would find myself wherever there was food and a washroom, I would binge and purge. At school, at work, at friends' houses, at restaurants, at the movie theater, at like anywhere that I could, I would. And my mom started noticing when I, first of all, would leave water, like half empty water bottles all around my toilet. I'm not gonna get into detail about what that means or what it is or whatever. I mean, there'd be like 6 or 7 water bottles around the toilet, and my mom would kind of be like, what the heck is going on? Nearing the end, I just got so careless and depressed that I would just like come home from school, I'd go all day without eating. I'd come home, I would binge so much. I would binge at least like 5,000 calories in a sitting. Like I'm talking sandwiches, I'm talking pasta, I'm talking cookies, I'm talking like pizza pockets, soups, anything that I had in my fridge. My poor dad probably spent like so much money grocery shopping. I'm laughing about it now because I'm still awkward talking about it. I would come home, binge and purge, and then I would go to the gym, and I would make sure I would burn 1,000 to 1,200 calories on the treadmill before I was allowed myself to go home and eat again. And just to give you guys an idea of how like long that period is for exercising, I go to SoulCycle regularly. I have kept track of how many calories I burned at SoulCycle just for the sake of it. And in the high intensity cardio, I'm burning no more than 600 calories. So for the fact that I was weak with no food and burning at least 1,200 calories, I was there for hours on end. After school, I'd be there for hours, and I'd come home, I'd eat, I'd purge, and then I'd go into my room, which I called the dungeon. It was in the basement, and I had blackout curtains. I would close the blackout curtains, and I would just crawl into bed, and that was my night. So I started getting anxiety attacks and depression with this, and obviously my anxiety attacks were something that really made me realize I needed help big time, because it was starting to affect not only like my body but my mind. Like I wasn't thinking clearly, I was incredibly depressed. Fast forward, I was put onto some medication for that, and it did help for the time being, but I just didn't like the feeling of being on, you know, medication. In my head, it made me seem that I was weak, that I had to be on medication to make myself feel happy. And for whoever's watching this and is on medication, obviously I don't think that way anymore. I was just incredibly sick, and my mind was twisted, and that's the way I thought. But anyways, this video is literally all over the place. I didn't really write down any notes, so I'm just kind of thinking about like that time and saying what I'm thinking. I was put on medication, and then the anxiety attacks got really, really bad. I just knew there was something wrong and I had to get the help, but I just was just too ashamed to tell anyone. My friends had some idea, I'm pretty sure, but I was just so ashamed because the way I looked at it was a dirty, like it's disgusting. You're making yourself throw up. Like that's the way I saw it. It's a dirty habit that I have. Like, why would I tell anyone? I'm so ashamed, I'm so embarrassed. Like my whole life I've been looked at as being this fit and like pretty popular girl, when realistically I was just so insecure, so depressed, and like hated myself. Like I literally hated myself. And then it not only became an eating disorder, it also became more of like a body dysmorphia. I was 100 pounds looking in the mirror, and in the mirror I saw someone who was 300 pounds. And that is what I saw. That's what I saw through my eyes. I would grab my fat and my skin and I would be so disgusted. And not only was I disgusted in my body, I was disgusted in everything. I hated the way I looked, my face, like, oh my God, I have such a big forehead. Oh my God, my teeth. Oh my God, my hair. Like every single thing about me, I hated, and I hated myself. So fast forward to grade 12. This went on really badly for about a year. One day, I don't know what really made me had enough, but I just had enough. My relationships were really going down the drain. I was very unhealthy. I was not happy. And I went to my guidance counselor, and I had never talked to my guidance counselor in my life. I know like we were all assigned a guidance counselor by like last name or whatever. That's how my high school did it. And I think her name was Miss Payton. I feel bad that I don't remember her name. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was Miss Payton. And I went and sat in her office and I said, I'm sick, broke down to her, told her, and she was so great. She, listened and was there. And she told me, I think I went on the Monday, and she told me by Friday I needed to tell my parents, or legally she had to get someone else involved. That day I went home and I told my parents, because I just didn't want to live another day with doing that. I went home and I told my parents, I said, I need to talk to you guys, and I said, I'm sick, I have an eating disorder. Fast forward, my mom was able to get me an appointment at a hospital nearby, like a special doctor for eating disorders. Unfortunately, that was 2 months after I had actually told my mom. So in those 2 months, I can only imagine how stressed and paranoid my mom was about me and my health and how I was feeling. And it's also pretty fucked up, for lack of a better word, how people have to wait. I don't know if it's still like that to this day, but like months on end to see someone for that is not okay. That's not okay at all. Wrapping this up, I ended up going to the hospital for my first appointment, and I remember walking in and seeing poor girls that are just 60 pounds, walking skeletons. I was terrified of them, and I just knew. It was almost like a voice in the back of my head. I know this is gonna sound really fucked up. I don't know if it was like, because I was literally probably going psycho at that time. I don't know if it was a voice in my head, if it was a guardian angel, if it was freaking God, I don't know. But I heard a voice in my head saying, you need to get better, you're gonna look like her, and worse, you're gonna die if you don't get better. And I was so terrified. I could have been making that up that I just heard that, but like had my appointment, and I never went back to that therapy ever again, because I knew the way that I had to get better was on my own. And I know that's not for everyone, but I just knew that I needed to be able to love myself again and be able to be okay with food again. And obviously I would go on like websites and help groups and stuff like that, but I wouldn't actually go to therapy. Again, I don't recommend that for everyone, because everyone needs their own help and whatnot. But it is now years later. I posted something on Instagram about my tattoo, and this is the National Eating Disorder symbol. It is very special to me. I look at it every single day, and it just really reminds me of how far I've come. As of lately, probably the past, I wanna say 6 to 8 months, I have found a new passion and love for myself. I've been lifting weights, lifting heavy. I've noticed a change in my body, and I feel so freaking lucky and just so motivated and happy and stuff. And I have never felt this ever in my life. As I said, I've always been incredibly insecure. I've always hated the way I looked, and I just personally think going through this experience has really molded me into the woman I am today. It really had humbled me, and every single thing that has been thrown out at me in my life, good and most definitely bad, has molded me into the woman I am today. And it's still something I struggle with. Body image is always something I probably will struggle with, but it does get better. For all of you out there who really don't believe you'll ever get better, trust me, I was you. When I say that, I was you. I know exactly what you're thinking. I know exactly how you feel. I never thought I'd get better, and I never thought I would be able to be my happy, cheerful, like, outgoing self again. But trust me, it's possible. Like, here I am years later. I look back on that and I never would have thought I would be able to get better. But here I am, it is possible, and I believe in every single one of you guys out there who may be going through a difficult time and really just don't see themselves getting better. I believe in you. So that's it for my story. I mean, I did miss out on a few big parts of it, but I didn't want to make this video crazy long. The point of this video was to just kind of spread awareness about eating disorders, because there is still a huge stigma around eating disorders, and that's not okay. Next week is National Eating Disorder Awareness, and I hope that every single one of you can do something to spread the awareness and just make it more of a thing that people are aware of. Check up on people that you love and care about. And if you guys have any questions about my eating disorder and any more questions that I may have not answered or talked about, leave them in the comments below and I will try to get back to you guys about them, because this topic is something that I really just close to my heart. And I don't want to say I have a passion about talking about it, but I do have a passion in the sense of like talking about it to hopefully get other people help and to motivate people to get the help they need. So with that being said, guys, that is my story. I just wanted to share with you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I know it was very different from my normal like happy-go-lucky self, but this is a real side of me. I am a human. There's days I feel like shit and there's days I feel great. Like that's life. So with that being said, guys, I will see you guys in my next video, and it will be a little more happy and a little more exciting than this. I will see you guys next week. Bye, guys.